Good afternoon, parents, guests, colleagues, and most importantly, class of 2017. My name is Paul Shin, and I have the honor of introducing you to your valedictorian, Jordan Dearsley. We met when Jordan was but an innocent grade 9 student, running to be a student council representative. Little did I know that I'd be standing here to introduce him to you as student council prime minister and valedictorian. Even back then, he seemingly had a plan. Unsure of how to start this presentation, I did what most of you would do when starting assignments. I went to Google. I don't know if any of you have looked yourself up on Google. I have, and I'm definitely not on the first page. Not much press for a high school teacher, I guess. But Jordan, I think the whole first page of content was about him, even the first few Google images. Scholarships, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Alternian, Shad, Wyconic, GitHub. How many people know what these things are? Jordan does. And if you do look him up, you may find a classical, mesmerizing cover of David Guetta's Titanium. Or you might find his addictive iPhone game, Ball Hop. He is quite the Renaissance man. This is just a small snapshot of how he is proactively changing his future, and he'll likely influence ours as well. But maybe I'm preaching to the choir here. After all, you, his peers, did vote for him to speak and represent you today. That is a testament to who he is, and a credit to you for recognizing the leader he is as well. Jordan is a young man who acts out of selfless desire to do good. He spent countless hours in the library and in the atrium helping his peers. He designed a phone app to run Model United Nations conferences. He's been an integral founder of many clubs, such as Tech Under 20 and DECA. These are just a few of his many contributions to King's. So whether it was him sharing his organizational plan with all of you to use, wearing a tutu for a chapel announcement, or shaving off his wonderfully manicured beard for Movember, Jordan always wants to share his gifts. I'll leave you with a little story about his leadership, forward thinking, and penchant for technology. Last year, while taking economics, we were discussing labor and the impact of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Jordan, not bored by the depth of this conversation, he sent me an article to read entitled "The AI Revolution, The Road to Superintelligence." This past fall, he came and asked me if I'd read it. And, well, I hadn't. Very quickly, in that same conversation, while we were still talking, I received another Edsby message with a link to that article from him saying, "You better read it this time. It's really worth it." Did I just get scolded by my student? I don't really know. But I did end up reading that article. And in short, it said to beware of Skynet and that machines will overtake us very soon. I am sure glad that Jordan is going into software engineering at Waterloo. He might be our only hope. Without further ado, it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce to you your valedictorian for 2017. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jordan Dearsley.
Sorry, so let me pull it up here. Kind of pissed off he looked me up, but anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, parents and guardians, staff and teachers, friends and families, students, or should I now say, graduates. Before we get started, just take a minute to look around. Teachers and staff are the reason that you're here today. Look behind you. Actually, look behind you. Your friends and your families, and most importantly, your parents, are the reason that you're here today. Look left and look right. These people graduating alongside you were there with you from the beginning and are now here with you today. Now look back at me because I'm the one doing the speech. I think we can all remember the time when we came in for that first interview in grade 8 with Miss Roblin. And as I look out at all you today, the part of that interview that comes to mind is when Miss Roblin told me, if you look at the students here, what sets them apart is that they're genuinely happy where they are. And after 4 years here, I doubt that any of us would disagree. We started here believing that this place was a school, a place for learning. And when you think of learning in a school, you think of textbooks and tests and exams. And here we had exactly that. We had the late nights and the cramming and the Tim Hortons study sessions. But only by being a part of this community could you see how much more it was than just a school. It's where you knew people and were known by people. It was a place where you were known not only as a number, not only by name, but by who you were as an individual. In essence, then, it was about the relationships we had here. And when I think of that word relationships, what comes to mind is not only the relationships between students, but that of teachers too. Teachers that genuinely care about their students and actually want them to succeed. But technically we're graduated now, so they don't really care anymore. Just kidding. In all seriousness, they've watched us grow from the timid, frightened, and immature grade 9s we once were to the bold, courageous, and equally as immature grade 12s we are today. We began here as a group of students, and now we're leaving here as a weird, kind of family, I guess, kind of dysfunctional, still a family. And it's crazy how quickly our time here has gone by. It feels like just yesterday we were doing group cheers at grade 9 day, so scared to get out of our comfort zones that we didn't even feel comfortable talking to each other, let alone support each other in our times of need and in our times of loss. Though we might not feel it at the moment, I think we're going to miss the time that we spent here. And when we look back 10 years from now, I'm sure a lot of us are going to remember Relay for Life and color runs, Mr. Hammond's life lessons in English class. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. Where is he? Where's the guy? There he is back there. I see him. David Galati's unreal sense of humor. Those times that we had dance-offs in the atrium. I didn't take part in it. I just watched. Or that one time that Josh Poon got a girl's number at a Model UN conference. And of course, Tuesday mornings at Tim Hortons. I mean at chapel. Okay. Calm down. On a different note, so, how are we doing, guys? Good. Anyone nervous to graduating today? Surprised? Relieved? Confused? I know I'm kind of confused, not about you specifically, just in general. I'm kind of confused about why God chose me to have kind and caring teachers that got me to where I am today. I'm kind of confused about why God chose me to go to a school that gave me everything I needed and so much more. And most importantly, why God chose me to graduate today alongside 174 of my friends. Aww. And yeah, we're here today to celebrate a pretty great success. We successfully completed 4 years of high school. You can give yourselves a round of applause for that one. It's pretty much the greatest achievement of our lives up to this point. But in a way, all success, including this success today, is based on a foundation of failure. And let me repeat that. All success, including this one today, is based on a foundation of failure. Now let me explain. I'm not calling you failures, but how many of you will consider 50%, no, not even, 49%, or how many of you would consider 0.1% a failure? Let's get a show of hands. A lot of hands should be up. I know what you're happy with, but 0.1 is not good for me. The only reason that the lights are on in this very room today is because of a success rate of 0%. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, was told by his teachers that he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being non-productive, but as an inventor, he made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at creating the light bulb. And when a reporter asked him, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. Essentially then, without those 1,000 failures, he would have never had that one success that made it worth it. There's other examples too. Walt Disney was fired by a newspaper editor because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Teachers described Albert Einstein as mentally slow, unsociable, and adrift forever in foolish dreams. The list goes on. So what can we take from these examples? Well, I'm not saying we should try to get 0.1% on our next exam. I'm sure our teachers, parents wouldn't be happy with that. But rather, take that 0.1 chance and turn it into our success. We should try to see failure in a new light. It's only through that failure that we learn to succeed, so we should be thankful for them. Now, we can hear these words being said, but it's not just about listening to it. I can say it on and on, over and over. You're not really going to do anything. It's about living it, knowing, becoming, being. At one point in my life, I believed that I was a failure. I was stuck in a place where I was isolated and rejected by those around me. I wasn't accepted for who I was to the point where I couldn't even accept the person I had become. Now, understandably, at the time, it was hard to see any light during such a dark time in my life. I had 2 options. I could either stay in my sunken place or get up, dust myself off, and try again. And by stepping back and reevaluating that person that I once saw as a failure, I did exactly that. I got up, dusted myself off, tried again, and then I failed. And then I got up, and I dusted myself off and tried again, and then I failed again, and I kept failing until I became that person that I wanted to be. Now today we gather here as graduating students not because of perfection, but because of what we've learned from our failures. You see, the key to making failure a step to success is changing how we look at it. Instead of it being an obstacle that we try to avoid, that we let hold us down, we need to make it part of the fabric of who we are. Now, the concept of grace is an inherently Christian concept based on the idea that we receive blessings that we don't deserve. Our parents and teachers have given us this place of grace where you're accountable for your failures, but at the same time, you aren't hindered by them, which allows for growth and learning instead of further failure. Now, similarly to how they've allowed us to be responsible and at the same time allowed us to grow, we now need to exercise that same grace in ourselves and for others. Inevitably, we're going to fail at something in university, and we're going to fail at a lot in life. But we can either curl up in a ball and isolate ourselves or keep trying until we have that one success that makes all of the failures worth it. As we sit here, we realize that we failed, but at the same time, we've learned and we've grown. Now it's time to take the experiences we had here, the successes and what we once would have called failures, and use what we've learned as we go our separate ways. Take risks now. Fail, or should I say learn, as much as you can while you can afford to. Do things that might seem stupid, that make you uncomfortable, because this is the time for you to learn for your future success. As Casey Neistat, a famous filmmaker and entrepreneur, once said, do what you can't. And remember, as much as it hurts to fail, it hurts even more to never succeed. These past 4 years have been an amazing journey, and it's a privilege to have graduated alongside you today. Congratulations to the class of 2017. Thank you.